The MFX4 system for a world in motion. Data acquisition and automation technology for the handling of mineral oils. This video describes the configuration of a MFX4 controller using the MFX4 Explorer and the default parameter set. An MFX4 controller is to control a truck loading line with additive injection. For this purpose, all necessary input and output signals of the controller must be configured. With the installation of the default parameter set on a controller, all necessary settings are made. In the default parameter set of the MFX4 controller, necessary signals and the used connections at the controller are predefined. These are the input signals from the loading line, the output signals to the loading line, output signals for controlling the product and additive control valve, and the measured values from the loading line. These input signals from the loading line are defined. Loading release of the grounding monitoring, loading release of the PLC, loading release of the emergency stop system, loading end with receipt printing, loading interruption by PLC or operator. For these signals, corresponding connectors are selected at the MFX4 controller. These output signals for the loading line and line control are defined. The loading order is active, an example for switching on the pump. The product flow is present, a signal for system monitoring. The loading is without errors, also a signal for system monitoring. Release of the additive line serves for valve control. For these signals, corresponding connectors are selected at the MFX4 controller. The output signals for valve control are defined as follows. Product valve open for flow control. Product valve close, also for flow control. Additive valve position via 4 up to 20 mA signal for injection control. For these signals, corresponding connectors are pre-selected at the MFX4 controller. The measurement signals are defined as follows. Actual product volume as pulses. Actual additive volume as pulses. Actual product temperature as PT100 measurement. For these measurements, corresponding connectors are set at the MFX4 controller. To install the default parameter set, a connection to the MFX4 controller is established. In order to have access to all required parameters, it is necessary that the calibration switch on the controller has been activated. This is indicated by the status Access Calibration. To load the default parameter set, I click on the Execute Script icon, or I choose the menu function File Execute Script. In the list, I select the top file, Controller Factory Settings All, and start the upload with Execute. Now the default parameters from the file are transferred from my PC to the controller. After the transfer, a list of deviating parameters is displayed. Mostly only differences are shown here, which are caused by different software versions and are uncritical. I close this list. I then press the Save icon and save the new parameters permanently on the controller. Finally, I restart the controller to activate the new settings by calling Reboot Device. Many configurations can already be changed with the service password. I connect to the MFX4 controller. Then I click on the device login icon, the keychain icon. Here I select service and enter the service password. The default setting for this is 0815. A successful login to the controller is indicated by the status Access Service. Different signals for the line control and the valves are output by relays of the MFX4 controller. I can adapt the used relay outputs to the real plant afterwards. To change the relay output signals, I connect to the controller. I must be at least in the access class service or calibration. I navigate in the parameter area to miscellaneous and then list of outputs. Here all used signals and the assigned relay outputs are listed and can be changed. To change a relay output, I double-click on the relay name and select the desired output from the list. The symbol in front of the signal name shows me the necessary access class for a change. Note that I can only change the error output for the error-free signal if I'm in the access class calibration. At last I save my changes again permanently with the save icon and activate them later by restarting the controller. In the default parameter set used, a continuously variable additive control valve is controlled via an analog output signal of the MFX4 controller. I can subsequently change this analog control used into a control via a relay output. This allows a simple valve to be used for control. To change the additive parameters, I connect to the controller. I must be in the service or calibration access class. To load the additive parameter set, I click on the Execute Script icon. In the list, I select the file controller add-on ADDI DC valve and start the upload with Execute. I confirm the hint to the service access group. Now, new parameters for controlling a digital additive control valve are transferred from my PC to the controller. In the parameter area under Loading Control, Additive Control, I find the changed additive controller parameters. Furthermore, a digital valve object for relay control of the valve was activated. Under Additive Definition 1, the used relay output for the valve is displayed, which I can still adjust later. At last, I save my changes permanently again with the save icon and activate them later by restarting the controller. To change the product parameters, I connect to the controller. I must be in the calibration access class. In the parameter area, I find the product parameters under Loading Control, Volume Counter, Counter 1. In the settings, I can now find the name of the product which I can adjust. Furthermore, I set the k-factor for the product counter, in example, the pulse value of the counter used. Finally, I save my changes permanently with the save icon and activate them later by restarting the controller. Do you have questions about our devices or our service? Please feel free to contact us.